owns NutriShop Riverside, NutriShop Movell as well. Wade. Confirm.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're both kind of in Riverside, one off Day Street, one off Tyler, but yeah, 2 stores.
So he's joining us as well. You know, we partner with them. They help us out with protein shaker bottles. They're there for InBody. We'll get into a lot of their stuff later in the presentation, but so Wade's joining us as well. Kind of our overview. You know, we're just here to talk about nutrition, how to make sure you guys are fueling correctly. I believe Mark hopefully will have the title slide coming up here, but you know,
I can start it.
Guys, it's really good information. And then if you have questions as we go through, type them in the chat. We'll take some time in between presentations if there's anything specific to answer. If there's some bigger questions, we'll answer them at the end. So, Mark, you're up.
We're sharing okay, Sam? You can see that?
I can see it. Yeah, guys, if there's any issues, just type in the chat or unmute. And
all right, so you guys, most of you know me as the guy that checks you in, you know, that check your temperature, but I do have a certification in nutrition, kind of like Gary. Those of you that knew Gary, he had a similar we had the same certification. So we have a similar philosophy just about changing habits and trying to do the right thing. So going through this, you know, I wanted to make this more basketball specific. So I was doing some research on, you know, NBA diets and different basketball player diets. And the one person, and this is great because the Dodgers just won and the Lakers just won. And of all people, the one person that had the best insight was Dwight Howard. So this part 1 that I'm going to talk about is the wisdom of Dwight Howard. So surprisingly, so Dwight Howard said these things, and we're going to highlight certain things that he talked about, and I'm gonna highlight them in bold and underline. And he said, I need to move this. I had to learn about the right type of diet, and this is an interview from GQ magazine that you guys can look up if you want. The foods that give you more energy. So he was talking about food as fuel. Once I got used to lifting and eating steak and potatoes, as they call it, I ended up getting a lot stronger. So steak and potatoes is a whole food. It's a food that doesn't have a label on it. It's just a single ingredient food. These are times during the season. There are times during the season when you want to eat the crazy foods. And I think the best time to do that is right after the season. So he's talking about discipline and good habits and sacrifice and trying to do the right thing at the right time. I had a busload of candy in my pantry. Now my pantry is filled with snacks you wouldn't dare look at. So he was famous for what they called, he ate the equivalent of 10 chocolate bars a day. So that was not helping him at all. So he figured out he had to reduce sugar and substitute, you know, healthier foods for his sugar. Then he said, remove it from my house so I wouldn't get tempted by looking at it. It was tough at first. So what I say is in your house, in your mouth, you know, so if it's in your pantry, if it's in the cabinet, you're going to probably eat it, whether it's good or it's bad. I was getting tired. I wasn't getting tired as fast during games. I was able to play longer. So that's just an outcome. So if you want to play better, if you want to do better, you have to make changes. And he made changes and he noticed that it was causing a good outcome. Once I get up, I try to have some type of egg, something that's going to give me protein to fuel me in the morning. So he was pushing protein, and you can say a lot about Dwight Howard, but the guy is just like a model of fitness. Like the guy is just a beast. So that's the biggest thing for me. I don't drink anything but water. So yes and no, he kind of goes into coconut water and some sports drinks. He does drink, but timing of that kind of thing is important. But for the most part, throughout your day, if you're not exercising, you just need water. And then people think it's all about what you do in the gym, but it starts with your diet. Once you get your diet right, you can start doing more running and different types of cardio. So if you don't have a nutrition foundation, he realized you can't build on that. So as we go through, there's only like 5 or 6 slides. As we go through the slides, you're going to see Dwight Howard come in, and that's when I'm referring back to these things that he said. So just realize that if you're Googling stuff, it's really confusing. There's the paleo diet, carnivore, keto, vegan, intermittent fasting, and all those things have problems. Like paleo is just like you can never eat out. and carnivore is just too restrictive. Keto is more of a short term for weight loss. Vegan is really, really difficult to do right. You're not getting nearly enough protein or micronutrients that you need. And you guys aren't worried about so much fasting with weight loss. So which one is right? The foundation of each one is actually right, and we'll talk about that. But none of them are right for everyone. Each of you individually has to figure out what works best for you. So the basic principles of all of these is to eat whole foods. Kind of like Dwight said, you got to eat foods that are a single ingredient. They don't have a label. You know, an apple is an apple. You know, chicken is chicken. And they're nutritious. You got to find foods that are nutritious. You know, chips might taste great, but they're not really nutritious. And then kind of make a lifestyle out of that. You know, basketball players, you know, at a high level, it's their lifestyle. It's how they fuel themselves. They know what they need, and it's just how they are. So the foundation of all this is if you don't get at least 8 hours per day of sleep, nothing else really matters. Your body can't use the nutrients it wants to use or it needs to use. So it messes with your hunger hormones if you don't eat or if you don't rest 8 hours per day. And then the other thing you guys do is when it's late, people usually snack and they eat unhealthy foods. So that's not really helping you either. So sleep is part of nutrition, and nutrition, remember, comes first. So if you're not sleeping, you can't build on your nutrition that you're trying to have. So there's 3 things that we don't get enough of, I feel like. There's number 1, protein, number 2, vegetables, and number 3, water. And I think protein and water are the easiest. People don't like vegetables that much. And if we can get 2 out of 3 of these at least to start with, I think we're making progress, because protein just helps you build muscle. It helps you feel full longer as well. You're not, you know, craving food all the time. So if you're hungry, think about what it is you're craving. Sometimes you just want meat. Sometimes your body really is good at regulating the amount of protein it needs by what you crave. Vegetables are great because they give you all the essential nutrients and fiber. You know, that's hard. You know, we're going to kind of gloss over that a little bit, but water really also is a foundational nutrient. So you need to really kind of think about, I just need to be drinking water. I just need to have a water bottle around all the time. I need to be pushing that. And then protein shakes and Wade is a great resource for protein, among other things. Would take care of 2 things, because a protein shake is made out of mostly water and protein. And that's kind of 2 things off the list on the left. Now, if you want to get sneaky and put spinach in there, that's kind of takes care of all 3. And I guarantee if you put spinach in a protein shake, you won't really taste it. It just looks really weird. So then the 3 things that are causing inflammation or promoting inflammation in your body are, number 1 are the seed and vegetable oils like canola oil and sunflower oil and you know, safflower, all those seed and vegetable oils. And they're found in all the things that are great to eat, you know, chips, cookies, pastries, you know, packaged foods and fried foods in particular. That is pro-inflammatory food. So when you're trying to recover, those foods are not helping at all. They're actually making it worse. And then sugar as well. Like sugar is kind of the number 1 thing, especially in the US, that people get way too much of. And that's promoting inflammation as well. And if you start reading labels of things, you know, sugar comes in a lot of forms, but you'll see that sugar is in just about everything. And then kind of refined flours. What refined flours are is like, you know, white flours, white bread, bagels, pancakes, all those kind of things. You know, once they hit your mouth, you know, the enzyme in your mouth breaks it down. It's basically sugar. So that's causing some inflammation as well. So what you need to do is just think about changing your habits. And to change your habits, you kind of need a goal. And then from your goal, you can create a habit. So it's hard to just create, it's like, oh, I want to eat better. So, well, how do you do that? Well, you need to create a habit. So if you think about these things on your left as being a goal, you know, be 10% better, say, for the first one there, then you need a habit. So to be 10% better, I think the easiest thing is if everyone just slept 8 hours a night regularly. I go to bed every night at, you know, 10 or 11. I wake up, you know, 6 or 7. every night, a regular habit, 8 hours. That's going to probably help you be 10% better just by doing that. Not going to go through all these, but for example, if you wanted to eat less sugar, just take it out of your kitchen. Don't buy it. Don't have it in your kitchen. If you want to eat more protein, go see Wade, and he can help you, set you up with a good protein powder. Or if you're going to go to, say, Subway, just say, hey, double the meat. And then when they give you that big bun, you just like, I'm going to take off half the bun, have them put all the vegetables on, and you're kind of getting your vegetables and more protein. And then you guys can use each other. If you want to make more meals at home, maybe you guys get together and combine money and make dinners and, go on YouTube. There's really no excuse to not know how to cook, because everything I know how to do from cooking is basically from YouTube. So lastly, here are just some substitutes that you can simply make to do better with your diet. So everybody should be eating breakfast. So I sort of highlighted breakfast a little bit on this, but you can go to the store and buy pre-made hard-boiled eggs, and you can get some avocado. And I really push for people, I'm not really supposed to promote any specific brand, but this Ezekiel bread is really good. It's like whole grains, sprouted grains, no flour, a little bit higher in just, plant proteins naturally. So you get some of this Ezekiel bread, you put some avocado and eggs on it. And if that's your morning, you've done really well, because you got carbs, healthy fats, protein. Or if you're more of like a peanut butter person, you can do peanut butter. If you want to try the protein shake, that's great too. If you want to go the route of like nuts and berries and like a Greek yogurt's really high in protein as well. And then these are a couple meals that if you guys got together, or if you wanted to do it on your own, you could make really easily at home. You get frozen broccoli, you get, pre-cooked chicken, you can get that stuff at Trader Joe's that's like a, microwave rice, and you put it in there for like 2 minutes. And so now you have this, it probably takes you 5 minutes to make. Or like a whole wheat pasta with sausages, sausages come pre-cooked. You can get those. You guys can buy it together, and you can have, 4 or 5 of you eat all at once, and it's super cheap and easy. So I just wanted you guys to think about habits. I wanted to give you some ideas of, how simple it can be. I just wanted you guys to know that I exist. And in case you have questions, I have some maybe solutions and habits that you can do. And if you have other questions, you can look up Dwight Howard on the GQ interview, and he'll give you some wisdom as well. So that's my end of it, unless anybody had any thoughts.
That's great stuff, Mark. Guys, you got any immediate questions? Anything you want repeated or not sure on, or you got a question? Someone else probably has a question as well. Same one.
Or it's like, if there's questions, you can always type them into the chat, and somebody else like Sam will ask them as well.
Well, thank you, Mark. It seems like there's not any questions right now, which is great. Guys, habits are really important. Little things over time that creates your habits, and those habits create who you are. So it's really important. If you're looking to change, if you have goals, that's how you do it. Those little steps over time, that's what makes a difference. So I guess I'm up. So let's see. Share screen. Am I sharing? Are we good on that? Awesome. Cool. So guys, Mark talked a lot about goals and habits. My area is more of a breakdown of how we make it happen. So I think one of the main things, and Mark talked about diets, all these different diets out there, is that our diet is an athletic diet, right? If you want to label it that. And what's really pushed on us is what the general population needs. But we're athletes, right? So we have to fuel differently. So you need we have greater levels of activity. You guys wake up early, You know, if we're on campus, you're walking to class, maybe you're biking to the weight room, biking to practice. You practice, you lift, you shoot around, right? You're busy all the time. So on that, you have different and unique nutritional demands, right? You might need higher level of carbohydrates or more fats or greater amounts of protein, right? Your timing might be different. How you manage all of that, like how that's different than what the general population might need, where they're okay kind of intermittent fasting, having a 4-hour block to eat. Maybe they're going to do a day fast. I don't know, but we can't do that. And what that takes is planning and preparation. You know, if you go the whole morning without eating breakfast and then you're going to lift, like, you know, Dwight Howard found out that he might not be able to play as long, right? And so we're not going to perform at the level we need if we're not planning and preparing. So I think knowledge is power. Knowing things, just I think it's an underrated aspect. So our macronutrients, kind of know what you eat. You got carbohydrates, their primary short-term source of energy. Rice, potatoes, pasta, fruits, vegetables, like these are all carbohydrates. And then we'll get into timing later, right? Fats, you got oils, avocados, seeds, nuts, right? Fats are really important for restoration. They're important for our nervous system. And then they're a long-term source of energy. So we obviously need that for numerous purposes. And then proteins, it's not a great source of energy, but it's really important for recovery, right? But we're talking about energy right now in this slide, but right, if we're using proteins as a source of energy, we're not getting enough carbohydrates in our diet. Our fats are probably inadequate, and so we got to make sure those other two are also dialed in along with proteins, which are obviously very important. So energy for basketball, right? Like, what does that look like for you guys? And you might say, like, you know, we have two kinds of energy, or we have three kinds of energy. We have our short-term energy. It's good for our in-practice training, between practice and lift. You know, if you're rushing around, you have lift and you have shoot around in an hour. That's our short-term energy. It's quick digesting, Gatorade, energy bar chews, or, you know, gummies, like our protein drinks. You know, you could sip on that as you go throughout a lift. Fruit, digest quickly, versus like, hey, I'm going to have some brown rice and chicken. That's not digesting quickly. Now you're, you know, asking your body to do multiple things at once versus just, hey, like, digest this. Let's get the blood out of the stomach. Let's get it to our working muscle, and we're good to go, right? So you'll feel that quick boost of energy for our short-term energy. Then we have our sustainable energy, right? Good for probably 1 to 2 hours before practice, between practice and training. So if you guys are, you know, you finish practice and you're in that second lift group, boom, perfect. You have something quick, and I'll kind of get to that in a little bit here, but you get something quick, and now you're at least getting some good energy in. You're starting that recovery process, but you're also not asking your body just to focus on digestion. So what that might look like is complex carbohydrates, right? We're moving away from the Gatorade, the energy bars, and we're focusing on something like rice. I put a picture of white rice for a reason. It digests more quickly than brown rice, right? So maybe we do need that quick hit of energy. We don't want a lot of fats for our sustainable energy kind of area. It slows digestion. So yeah, little oils, fine at that time. But my boy Will there snacking on almonds between practice and lift, calling you out, Will. But you know, that's not ideal. Like, could we have made a little better choice there in the future? I know he will, because he's adaptable. And then we have lower fat proteins. Doesn't have to be a lot of protein, just a little bit. I put a pork loin there, but it should be lean, right? We don't want to be having a big steak in between practice and training. You could have that protein shake, digest quickly, liquid. It's not going to stay in the system long, but it will give you good carbohydrates, give you a bit of protein. And again, like that protein, if you want to go by palm size, half a palm of protein for in between for that sustainable energy do you really well. And then we have our long-term energy. Okay, so that's really good, right? Like at the end of the day, hey, like I have a lot of time between practice and my lift, or I have a lot of time between my lift and my the shoot around in the afternoon, probably more than 2 hours. Something that's slower digesting for carbohydrates. I put a picture of a sweet potato, yam. You could do brown rice. You could do quinoa. It's something that digests a little slower. Pasta's fine there. Proteins should make up a larger portion of that meal. Right now, we're talking about whole palm size of protein. You can move away from that pork loin, from that chicken breast. You could start going with a steak. Something that has maybe a little higher fat content is okay, because we have that time for the body to digest and utilize that for recovery. Okay, and then fats. Again, now's the time to really get those fats in. Are good fats though, nuts, seeds, oils. You can get the fats from your steak, from your meats. That's fine. If you want avocado, it's always a good place to go. I was talking in the weight room with you guys, I think, about some Nicolas Cage and how he's terrible. So I threw that in there for you guys. Especially, I think Gus is my Nicolas Cage fan. But guys, timing is really important. Sustainable energy, right? You need that before practice. So Mark talked about breakfast. Like this is our breakfast right here, right? Something that's, you're probably not getting up at 6 to eat breakfast for your 10 o'clock practice. So maybe you're getting up at 8:30, right? But it's important to have something, okay? In practice, right? You've had a little something. It's not something big before practice. During practice, drinking Gatorade, having a bite of an energy bar once in a while, having a chew, maybe having a banana as you're going through practice, right? You see tennis players, if you watch tennis, those guys are tons of bananas throughout a match, right? It's because it's quick digesting, and it gives you that little boost of energy, so you're performing optimally throughout the entire practice, right? Short-term energy between practice and a lift. Don't just come into lift tired and then be like, I didn't have anything. Your coaches did a great job the other day. They brought you some fruits, and I thought our energy level was better in our lift because we're not just dragging, right? You could sip on a protein shake throughout the lift. That gives you some little carbohydrates, start the restoration process with the protein. Really beneficial for you guys. Then you have your long-term energy, sustainable energy. Again, good for after the lift, between the lift and your shoot around, and then good for after your shoot around. And then you have the long-term energy to get you through the night, right? Dinner, essentially. So guys, we've armed you with a lot of information here. And, the Rock, I have him up there. We were talking about The Rock also. I listen to you guys when you talk. Unfortunately, I listen to you guys when you talk. But, get up and make it happen. So I think it's important that you don't just wake up at 9:20 and rush over for your 10 o'clock practice. Get up, have breakfast, right? That could be a super shake. It could be, in there you have a scoop of protein, some oats, some milk in there, get your spinach in there, scoop of peanut butter, a banana. All of a sudden, you got this really good hearty shake that gives you a lot of energy, and it digests quickly because it's liquid. It's blended together, right? Throughout practice, short-term energy, you drink Gatorade throughout practice, right? We're fueling the system as we're going through. Your lift is at 12:30 or 1:15, right? That could be short energy for my first group. For those guys in the first group, sip out a protein shake throughout the lift. Sustainable energy. Maybe if you got time, right? And that second group usually has a little time. Hopefully you planned, hopefully you brought a meal. But if you didn't, run the flame broiler quick. It's close. Have half of that, half of a flame broiler meal gives you a little bit of energy. So you get through the lift with good focus and good intent. You finish your lift, post-meal lift, sustainable energy. what that looks like. You have pasta with chicken and vegetables, right? It doesn't have to be big. We talk about half palm of protein, a serving of pasta, and you get your vegetables in, whether that's like mixed in with the meal. And vegetables can be up to you on how you like. If you like zucchini, you like broccoli, whatever you like, but find stuff that you like and eat that, right? I think that's important. Pre-skill development meal. So it seems like a lot. We're eating a lot here, but that's what the planning's for. What does that look like? Rice, chicken, vegetables. Boom. That's another flame broiler meal if you didn't plan. Hopefully you planned. Again, it doesn't need to be a lot. Half palm of protein, half a cup of rice, whatever type of vegetables you like, peppers, onions, carrots, a little stir fry. Boom, you throw that together. That's a good meal that gets you guys through your skill development, your shoot around with good energy, right? And now we can move on to some of our harder meals, right? You guys have been kind of going throughout the day. So we kind of chipped away at our food, at our intake. And now we have our long-term energy, sweet potatoes, steak, vegetables, right? Something heartier, something that's more filling. And then dinner, right? So our dinner might be 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's pairing stuff together. Maybe it's maybe closer to 9 o'clock for when you guys go to bed. But again, we want to get the 8 hours of sleep. But again, I'm just putting an example, sweet potato, steak, vegetables, but that again can be a heartier meal. If you're Q, maybe it's fish, potatoes, and vegetables, right? So we talked about knowing how to cook. I was talking to a former athlete the other day, and they were talking about all they knew how to cook it at the start was pasta, right? I think like there's no excuse for not knowing how to cook. Please go on the internet, watch some cooking shows. Just take a little time. This is taking control of your own personal success and development. Okay. Get storage containers. Plan ahead, right? If you don't get storage containers, like cooking is a meal to meal endeavor. And when you guys are out and about, like you're not gonna obviously have time to cook, right? So you have to plan ahead. Know your schedule. The schedule's pretty consistent for you guys, day in, day out. Makes planning a lot easier. And then cook ahead and pack what you need. Flynn's doing a great job bringing stuff in the morning. He's putting it in my fridge. I'm okay with that, right? I'm here to help you guys achieve your goals. And so utilizing the resources available to you, and then taking advantage or taking control of your own success by getting storage containers, learning how to cook, knowing your schedule, right? All these things kind of play a role. And then individualization, guys, like what works for one person might not work for you. So like my diet might be a little different than Mark's diet, which might be a little different than Wade's diet. Our goals might be different, but planning and preparation allows you to know what will work for you. So if you plan and you don't really have enough food, hey, maybe I need a little more carbohydrates. I need some more rice with my meal. I'm still hungry as I'm practicing. These things, planning will let you make adjustments. But if you're just kind of winging it every day, it's not the best. It's not the best way to make long-term change. And so then again, you're like, your goals are different. Maybe your goal is to lose weight. Maybe your goal is to pack on muscle. Maybe your goal is to stay lean, kind of maintain where you're at because you like where you're at. Those are all different goals. And so the diet would reflect those different goals. And then if you're not sure what your goals are or what they should be, Mark's available. He's very qualified. You know, he's very intelligent, great resource. I'm a great resource. So like use us as available resources to at least start the conversation. So you're thinking about it. And then for individualization, and I'm gonna just introduce Wade here. You know, they have NutriShop has InBody. They work with us with their protein, hook us up with shaker bottles. And Wade, tell us a little bit about your InBody, man.
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, yeah, you can hear me, right, Sam? I just can't tell because it's not on my face. Good to go? Cool. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that individualization aspect as well as support. So the way that Sam and Mark and even NutriShop and myself are able to best help you is by seeing what the numbers are to create a tangible goal. So if you don't know where you're at in terms of body fat, muscle mass, where your water, your hydration, where your resting metabolic rate, and how your metabolism is, it's a harder guess to make. Whereas if we're able to see all of these on paper, then any one of us three, whether it be the store Sam or Mark, can best help you because they can see the numbers in front of them. So what you guys are looking at here is an example of a sheet of our InBody machine. We have one at each of our store locations at the end. We put the addresses, but we have one over on Tyler by the Tyler Mall, and then one over off Day Street. So whichever way you guys do your shopping or are closest to. But what this does is this breaks down everything that you would need to kind of create an individualized diet and create a tangible goal. So at the top there, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but one of the big things is water, testing hydration, seeing how hydrated you are. Then going down, you see your body fat mass in pounds, your weight, and then you can see kind of where your muscle mass is at compared to BMI, and then we're able to create goals from that. In the center there, it shows how much muscle you have in each arm, each leg, your trunk, and then it tracks your progress there at a line graph on the bottom. So the biggest thing in learning what's working and not working sometimes is figuring out what isn't working, so then you can find out what does work, right? So the biggest thing that we always recommend is coming in, trying it out, seeing your numbers, working with either with the staff here at NutriShop or with Mark or Sam, and creating a goal or creating a goal and then making a plan and then see if that works. We recommend every couple of weeks coming in and doing it. It's always free to do. It's free for anybody who comes in to do. And then you can take these papers home and then you can see if it's working or not working for you based off the goal that we create. So yeah, the InBody is a really good tool, and it's a free tool at any of our stores. And it will really help out. And I'm sure with Mark, Sam, and even NutriShop kind of seeing and creating a goal, and then you guys can look at your numbers.
Yeah, guys, just jumping in here real quick. Wait, if that's
yeah, go for it.
I think that's really important. Like some of you guys have brought up to me, just like, hey, we want to get these values tested, right? I want to see what my body composition's at. Where am I at? What should I be at? And I think this is a really good opportunity, right? This gives a lot of data, a lot of information for you to better allow for that individualization process to occur, so that you guys can keep taking control of what you need, right? And we're here as support staff and as partners to assist you guys in taking the correct course, right?
Yep.
So it's a great partnership with NutriShop, and this is a phenomenal opportunity for you guys to learn more about your personal needs.
Yeah. And I think I saw a question here that someone asked, how much protein should we be eating? And I think that that's a great question to kind of go back to that individualization. I mean, obviously, as basketball players, there's a bunch of guys who are, taller or shorter, have more muscle mass, or there's more different positions that you guys play, and all of those body types are different. So the amount of protein that someone may need as a center is going to be different than someone that may need as a point guard, right? So it all kind of depends on your body's composition. So I would suggest, to answer the question, is come by, do the machine. Usually a good rule of thumb is a pound or a gram per pound of body weight. But because you guys are athletes, you may need a little bit more of that. And also, it's just going to give you a good idea for everything else. You can see how many calories you need to be eating, how many calories you burn at rest too.
That's a great question, guys.
Jumping in with that is I would take this information that you get here and your goal with what you want to do, like if you wanted to, put on more muscle, And then I have an online tool that you can put this information in, and it will tell you kind of, okay, you should be eating this much protein, and it goes by palms, kind of like how Sam was talking about. You should be eating 10 to 12 palms of protein a day. And I think it would enlighten you at least to see that I'm not getting anywhere near that, because I've run through this and I don't get anywhere near the amount of protein that I should be getting. And most people as an athlete aren't. So this is a good resource because it gives you a ton of information, and then we could put it into a nutrition resource, and that would give you a ton of information. And then it's just kind of on you to make those habit changes.
Yep. And then I want to touch on a little bit, Sam. I don't know if you have the next slide, or I don't know what's the slide after this.
I think it's supposed to be contact info, but I didn't fill it in.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick. Okay. I have put. Oh, okay. Real quick. I mean, obviously, the other side of, you guys didn't already know, with NutriShop is we're a support store. So not only with support for the InBody and supporting our goals, but support nutritionally too, right? So a lot of you guys have probably seen the black protein containers. I think Sam had a picture up on one of his slides. Obviously, getting your foods through whole food sources obviously is going to be the first and foremost a priority. But sometimes we're in a rush. We're between classes. We're between practice or weightlifting sessions, and like we don't have enough time to get those nutrients in a timely manner. Same thing going back with all the micronutrients and the vitamins from vegetables. We have powders that help out in supporting that and getting to whatever goal you're trying to get to, whatever you may be struggling with. So we have some really good options in store. We always have free samples. And of course, you guys as students always get discounts too. So come by, do the InBody, and then we can give you some samples of some stuff to try out to just see if you like it, or we could discuss different issues that you may be having. So then we can try to find some support products in there to help you out in reaching that goal.
Hey, Wade, could you touch on just the different kinds of protein powder? I know there's a lot of different kinds of protein out there. I think whey protein has been really big because of the bodybuilding community. That might not always be ideal for athletes, but could you just touch on the different types of protein types?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is I think everybody knows kind of the containers that say whey, that big on the front, right? Obviously, there's a lot of different types of whey, but again, going back to what you guys said, looking at labels and familiarizing yourself with labels. There's some that are like at Costco or Sam's Club that say whey on the front. They look great, but may have tons of sugar, may have tons of stuff that you guys aren't going to be looking for in a protein shaker you guys may need. So I think definitely familiarizing yourself with the sugar contents. But whey is going to be a fast acting protein. So that's usually one we recommend post-workout, because that's going to absorb within that 15 to 30 minute window. There's also a bunch of other types of proteins. There's plant-based ones that are from peas and brown rice. There's also proteins that are blends that are a mixture of whey and casein, which digests over time. So a lot of people take that before bed, also helps out with recovery. There's also egg protein that kind of is a middle digestion. So it digests over a couple of hours. So I think especially for athletes, getting a blend of proteins is great, especially if you're using it as a snack. So you're getting different digestion times, but also getting something with a good amount of carbohydrates, which you guys have been seeing in those proteins, also will help out with fuel, especially midday between practices, etc.
Yeah, guys, taking control, have goals, change your habits, right? Really important to nutrition is that kind of missing link for us, right? You guys work hard and got to recover hard. That's where the nutrition aspect comes in. So if you guys have other questions, post below. Reach out now, and then I'll get you guys Wade's contact info. I'll get that to your coaches. Your coach will send that out to you. Guys, visit the store. It's a really good opportunity. Use that InBody. Find out what you need. Take control of your own training, and then use Mark and myself and Wade as great resources to keep making gains. Keep making gains. That's what it's about. Winning games. Guys, thank you for your time. Really appreciate y'all. Hey, looking forward to finishing the week strong here. So, Mark,
Thanks, guys.
everything good?
We're good.
Cool.
Terrific.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
No problem.
Tony.
Come visit the shop.
Tony changed outfits. Not slick.